Hello everybody and welcome to today's episode. My name is Christian with Idaho Dual Sport, and today's episode is going to be a little bit about dual sport bikes and how we kind of refine that category into what suits our needs. So stay tuned. All right, so you're in the market for a dual sport. Now this does not leave a lot of specification as to what you're looking for. I know plenty of other gentlemen and riders like myself who have been looking for a bike that is going to suit multiple needs, which is kind of the category of dual sport, which is what makes it appealing to a lot of us, is what bike can do multiple things, as in off-road, on-road, light ADV work, but still manage single track, something that we can commute on regularly. Dual sport to me is such a vast category that has a lot of gray area. So today's episode is more so just my interpretation and my breakdown of what I look for when I look at a bike. Right now I currently have a DRZ 400S that is a 2023 model. I believe the thing has mainly remained unchanged since it came out in 2001. There's not a lot of differences from the original model. A few differences that set it apart from the E model. Other than that, it's still just the old carbureted bulletproof machine that it was created back 20 years ago. On the other hand, I have a 2022 Sherco SE250 factory that is more so your hardcore premium enduro machine that absolutely excels in the hard stuff. It's very confidence inspiring, has amazing suspension with the KYBs, and overall just is decked out with premium parts. So the question comes down to, what is your purpose? For me out here in Idaho, I fell in love with the dual sport category, which again falls back to what was the intended purpose of that. For me, I wanted to be able to leave my driveway, go out and explore trails, because we have a mind-blowing amount out here. I can leave from my driveway and be at a trail in 30 to 45 minutes, and then if I go 2 hours north, south, east, or west, again, I'm at even more potential spots to ride. So for me, I wanted something that was going to be an 80-20 to possibly 90-10 split. That means 80 to 90% dirt, 10 to 20% pavement. So I'm not looking for something that has a ton of road comfort. Where that lies in is I initially had the Sherco only. I did not have the DRZ. I've had a KLX 300R, I've had a TW 200, I've had a YZ 250X, and now I own none of those, and I just specifically have the Sherco and the DRZ. For a while, about 6 months, I solely had the Sherco, and while it was amazing off-road, it outperforms me in plenty ways and is amazing on the trail, but it misses a lot of that ability to go and take me places that require a little bit of pavement. I even put a restricted plate on the thing, hoping that it would kind of work as a dual sport, and it's just not built for that. With enduro tires and the way that it's set up, it's just not comfortable. It's perfect if you want to load it up in the truck and take it to a spot, maybe hit pavement for 10 to 20 minutes maximum at a time. However, it's just not built for that. Ironically, when I came across my DRZ, I was not in the market for another bike. I just so happened to be on Facebook Marketplace one day. I saw this 2023 that had 200 miles on it. I've followed the DRZ hype for a long time. I have a good friend that swears by his, and I honestly just kind of had this itch. So when I saw this listing for $5,500 on a local 2023, I jumped on it. I went down, handed over my card, and said, I'll take it. To this day, that might have been the best decision I ever made when it comes to buying a motorcycle. I've absolutely fallen in love with the thing, which is ironic because coming from a premium European bike, you would think, well, you're going back to old school carbureted Japanese bike that's, you know, dang near 80 pounds heavier. The suspension is nowhere as nice. The tires that I've thrown on there are just a 50/50 Shinko. They're the 244. I've done a lot of modification. Taken off a bunch of the chunky lights, put on a lot of LEDs, strapped on the Moscow Reckless system, and really kind of decked it out as a lightweight dual sport. And I'll tell you what, it's when I found out how much I don't need in order for it to be a sufficient machine to use for dual sporting. Even for 80-20 use, I have found that 120 mile days on this thing is pleasant. Minus the seat, you put a seat concept seat on there and the thing just becomes a machine. It just is, it's reliable. It is a bit heavy, but man, it's planted on the pavement. 70 miles an hour is nothing. You can cruise 40 to 80. I've never done any more than probably 40 to 50 miles on a stretch on the pavement, but I really have absolutely fallen in love with it for what it is and how simple it is. Now the crazy thing is I think we're so geared towards going towards these high performance machines like the KTMs, the Husqvarnas, the Betas, and I have been so close to pulling a trigger on those multiple times, but only after finding out how little you really need to enjoy the trip and to get the performance you need. It's pretty mind-blowing. I mean, I have a dang near performance-wise bone stock DRZ that has just blown my mind. I have smiled every time I've ridden it. I can't stay off the thing. I've gone groceries on it. I've gone down to check out spots at, you know, some job site speculation for stuff with work, and I've just find myself constantly hopping on the thing because it's so simple and fun. The fuel economy is decent on it. I still have the stock tank. I'm able to do 100 miles no problem. So the question here lies, what more do we need? Why do we need a premium European bike? A lot of the dual sports I seem to find myself interested are more so race bikes that are geared towards being street legal. Now, I know that's big in the FIM and the hard enduro series. You have to have some plated bikes in order to compete, right? But why does 90% of the American market really need a plated performance bike? If you're racing, that's one thing, but don't you think you would want just a performance bike flat out? Why would you need it street legal unless it was for competition, closed course purposes? For me, I found out quickly that as much as I wanted all those things and as beautiful as machines those are, it just is absolutely unnecessary. And I believe Carl on Racer Red channel talks about this often, as he's gone through some high performance bikes and just keeps falling back on the DRZ. There's just nothing it cannot do. I've hit some very mild single track, torn up on the double track, been on the highway, been down gravel roads, dirt roads. I mean, it goes everywhere. It's truly the one machine that I believe is still tailored to being able to do everything good, but nothing great. It is truly a jack of all trades and a master of none. The problem is if you have a master of one, you have a slave to another. And that's what I found in the Sherco, is that as beautiful as it is off-road and how amazingly it performs on the trail and off-road and in the mountains, it's just not geared towards the type of riding that I'm starting to find myself falling in love with. And I only found that out through experience. It was going out on rides and finding out where I want to spend most of my time. I love the adventure aspect of dual sporting. I love going to new places and being able to turn down a road, but that requires a little bit of expansion in your routes and not just being stuck in a trail system. But even so, with dual sporting, it just allows you to throw in a backpack, throw in some light saddlebags like the Reckless 10, and take off from your driveway and just go find spots to ride. And that to me is what appeals so much about riding. It's the therapy for me. So basically this video is geared towards the people that are still trying to find that definition of what they want on a bike. Yes, you can look at those high-end European bikes, and yes, you're going to get amazing performance. You're also going to get a little bit tighter maintenance intervals, expensive parts. The components are probably not going to last as long as something like a DRZ WR250 R, or even like the CRF 300L, KLX 300. There's so many new fuel injected machines that compete just as well, but truly the carbureted machines that are so limited technically are just, they're amazing. I have nothing bad to say other than the weight, which is, again, it favors it when I'm riding 40 to 60 miles one way. That's where the weight plays into its factor. And realistically, when we went off-road and hit a little bit of the technical rocky stuff, the weight actually, the suspension on those bikes completely ate up everything. There wasn't a single thing that I struggled with. I think everything that we rode, the DRZ was completely capable, and it was everything and more that I could enjoy. We didn't ride anything hard, exposed, technical single track, but even with a good rider like Carl on the Racer Red channel, that guy's taking his DRZ in crazy places. So to say that the bike is not capable would be utterly false. The rider, however, has to give a lot more input on a heavier bike, be smarter with their line selection and whatnot. But I think for the average dual sport rider, I think there's so many options out right now that don't cost more than $8,000. I think that you can get a KLX 300, a CRF 300, or even 250L, and the DRZ 400, which, like mine, I picked up for $5,500 with 200 miles on it. And it's outperformed my $11,000 dirt bike. So how that stacks up, you can kind of take it as you want. Now, however, can one bike truly do it all? My opinion says no, but the DRZ is probably the closest of doing it out of all things. Now, I have friends that say the Tenere 700 is the same thing. However, I would rather take a DRZ 400 down single track than I would a Tenere 700, only because that is over 120 pounds difference that you're talking about lugging down a trail. And if you ride like me, you're gonna fall, the bike's gonna get laid over, you're gonna have to pick it up. After 2 or 3 times of picking up a Tenere 700, you're probably gonna be pretty worn out and frustrated. So again, keep these options in mind when you're looking, if you're shopping, if you're interested in any bikes at all. Contemplate really what your purpose is going to be and the practicality of needing such a high-end performance machine, because I really think it's easy to get caught up in the hype. I think there's a lot of things that are so exciting in today's market, especially with capitalism at its peak. I think it's so easy to get dazzled by the new Farkles that we see in marketing and all these special upgrades that we're seeing that make it purely exciting and totally cool for the end user. But realistically, how much are they feeding the purpose of what we're wanting to accomplish? And so therein lies today's topic. What is your definition of a dual sport? So I hope this topic kind of helps you guys. I really hope that it gives you some clarity on what to look for and helps you kind of create your own idea of what dual sporting looks like. Whether you want to use it for light adventure, if you just want something that can get you to and from the trails legally. I know California residents require the street legal plates now to ride most of their trails, so that's a totally different category that you have to factor in when you're looking for a bike. In the meantime, there might be guys that have a 2006 DRZ or an old WR250R sitting in their garage right now that are wondering, is it worth it to upgrade to a $12,000 Beta 500 or a $13,000 KTM 500? You have to weigh that for yourself, but really ask yourself, what is the intention of getting such a high performance bike? Is it really going to serve and benefit you in a way that's actually going to make it more enjoyable and allow you to ride more and explore more and accomplish the things you're looking to do when you ride? So I hope today's episode was enjoyable for everybody. If you have any questions, comments, or anything to contribute, please leave them down in the comment section. And until next time, take care.